The college football experience and college basketball experience pregame show on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET is what you need to win. Sign up today. Bet $100. Get a $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. State restrictions apply. We're also brought to you by our mini helmet contest. Yes, the SGP mini helmets are now in the store, and we're giving one away for free. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/helmet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/helmet. We're also brought to you by our college football playoff prop contest, which you can still enter right now. We're giving away a $200 gift card to the winner exclusively on the SGPN app, which is free to download in the App Store or Google Play Store. So grab that thing today. And remember, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, this is Eric Metcalf. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes. Woo-wee. Welcome to a glorious day for college athletics, college football bowl games, college football playoff invitational games, and a loaded college basketball slate. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Don D. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
Very healthy on a day like today. Very healthy to watch a shit ton of sports. It's actually kind of weird because, I got the New Year's thing, I got plans with the wife. It's kind of going to be hard to, it's just a circus act juggling all this action. I am joined by a guy that, hey, any sport, I feel like this guy knows what the hell he's talking about. Look, host of the NBA Gambling Podcast, one of the hosts of the NFL Gambling Podcast, host of the WNBA Gambling Podcast, and I like to tout this every time. He started here on the college experience. Give it up for Terrell Furman Jr. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm good. Beamer Ball let me down late. But we had a ball. If we're gonna lose a bet, that's the way to lose because that game was amazing.
I was dumb enough to take Clemson also. So the state of South Carolina let me down.
Hey, Joe Milton balled out. I'm not even gonna hold you. Joe Milton went out there and did his thing.
I gotta give it to him, man. I'll be honest. I think he's got another year left. So,
Does he?
I'm not 100% on that, but I think he might because of the COVID restrictions. Mm-hmm. I know they're bringing in a 5-star, but wow, I was impressed. I was very impressed. So, we got an absolute just heater of a lineup here, and I guess we'll start. We'll just go chronologically on time. Shout out to the chat, Ryan McIntyre, Slick Rick, Chase Sessoms. I mean, just a. So we're 56 minutes away from kickoff in 2 bowl games. One, I know you're absolutely thrilled to see, which is the Iowa-Kentucky game, where both
can't wait. I cannot wait. It's gonna be a bar burner. I don't know. It might be a shootout in that one.
We got a total of 31
and 5 touchdowns.
He's not even playing, but hey, it could be addition by subtraction.
No, for real.
Yeah. I think it's fun just to open up with that one here. I was laying 3. This is the second time these teams have played in the calendar year of 2022. As if the first time wasn't bad enough. Mm-hmm. They were like, you know what? Let's give it to you again, because they did play on January 1st a season ago. Kentucky won 20-17. Actually came from behind, so I guess it was a good game technically from a score point of view. Mm-hmm. This one's in Nashville. Like there's so many players out on each side. I went with. It's hard to give an analysis on this when I think I was on their fourth string quarterback. Kentucky's on their second string quarterback with their fifth string running back.
Mm-hmm.
I just went with Iowa because the motivational side of the fact that they lost to Kentucky earlier this year. And I think that's enough for me. I also think I saw Kentucky's backup play against South Carolina this year when Levis was out.
Mm-hmm.
He's terrible. Now, I can only assume that Iowa's backups are terrible if Spencer Petras is starting. I just think Iowa's defense is a little bit better than Kentucky's defense, and Iowa's got an absolute money punter. That's my analysis, is that Iowa's defense is a little bit better. I think they can force more turnovers, and Iowa's punter might be the MVP of this game. When's the last time a fucking punter's been the MVP of a game?
I don't even think that's possible. Like, what is the metric that you say? Oh, he pinned all of their punts inside the 10-yard line. You need to give him the MVP. Like, I don't even know.
And
I'm going Kentucky.
I think you go under in this game.
Oh, the under for sure. It's like the lowest total in college. Iowa has like 4 of the 5 lowest totals ever in college football. And I think the only other one is like a service academy game that was earlier this year, the Army-Navy game earlier this year. But Iowa's like every other game. At this point, I'm going Kentucky +3 because it just kind of seems like the play. I think the public is backing Iowa more in this game. They understand the motivational factor for Iowa, seeing how they lost to this Kentucky team. And yes, Iowa's defense, I think, is head and shoulders better than Kentucky's. But the issue that I have here is that I don't trust Iowa to ever put up points on the board. Like, I don't think Iowa has the ability to put up points. At some point, I think that Kentucky can get through that Iowa defense and put themselves in a position to get a touchdown or 2. But I just don't see any way Iowa is going to find ways to move the football in this game. So, yeah, I'm going with Kentucky laying 3 and a very, very low total. I like my chances with the dog.
Yeah, I think Kentucky being that, Chris Rodriguez and Cavassier Smoke and the third string, the transfer from Sam Houston State, Jefferson, all out for Kentucky. They're going to be forced to throw the ball against Iowa, and I don't know that this kid can. Back from me watching that South Carolina game, I don't know. Give me the Hawkeyes. Just the fact they lost to them, I think the motivational side of it is the reason why I'm going there. I don't feel strongly about this game. I don't think anyone in America feels strongly about this. Alabama at that same time, kicking off within the hour. Alabama, Kansas State in New Orleans. Your boy Adrian Martinez has been practicing some.
I think he's expected to play.
A chance of a two quarterback system. I think that could keep Alabama on the ropes. This line has skyrocketed in the past 24 hours or so. K-State's getting 7.5 now. I believe it was flat 6 about a couple days ago. I've been all over in this game. Early when the line was 3, I was all over Bama. It jumped up to 6. I was like, you know what? I think K-State might be able to cover that. 7.5. I think I'm going to go K-State here just because of the motivational side. I think that no one's opting out for them. Now, shout out to Alabama and their culture because Bryce Young and Will Anderson opting in, but they still had a slew of transfers leave. They've been really weak at wide receiver this year, and I also feel like the Bama defense hasn't been as good as traditional years. I know statistically I think it's still a top 20 defense, but from eye test point of view, I think K-State gets up for this one. Bama still might win this game, but I'll take the 7.5 with the Wildcats. What are you doing here?
Chase in the comments saying Bama just jumped up to 9.5. I don't see that line movement happening anywhere.
Yeah, 7.5. Maybe he meant to say 7.5.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still seeing them showing 7.5 right now. I would assume if there was a line movement, it's because Adrian Martinez has announced that he's not playing. But over here, I mean, I'm not going to go against him this time. Like, this is the spot. Hopefully he doesn't kill me this time, but I'm going to back your boy Adrian Martinez in this one, plus the 7.5. And it really is the motivational factor of Kansas State. And Alabama they just haven't had defensively that same year that they always do. And the offense for Kansas State has been really good. And this is an unconventional offense where if it is Adrian Martinez, now if it's Howard, I think I'll be on on the Alabama side. But if it is Martinez, that backyard style football is something that a lot of SEC teams struggle with because they're not used to seeing. Like, you're not getting that type of offense anywhere in the SEC. So if you're just letting Adrian Martinez go out there and run around, then yeah, I think that you got a good chance with Kansas State plus the 7.5 just because they'll be able to score points.
And I expect them to play both. And I think you play both. Look, I've always never been the biggest fan of the 2-quarterback system, but it makes sense a little bit here. Martinez hasn't snapped the ball in like 6 weeks. And I think Howard's a much better passer than Martinez, so you can kind of keep them a little bit off balance. I don't know if it will work out, but I'm intrigued by it. I'm on K-State at the end of the day. I think everyone, from a motivational side, even though Anderson and Young are playing, which were surprises, I think, to everyone, even Vegas, I think K-State they don't get a chance to play Alabama as much. So, so I think everyone's going to be ready to go on that side of things. At the same time, let's shift over to college basketball. I know we got the college football playoff we'll touch on in a second, but I want to go chronologically towards time. UConn is taking on Xavier in their first real road game, I would say, of the season. UConn is 14-0. They look like people are saying this is their national championship team. Meanwhile, Sean Miller and Xavier, super experienced team, kind of flying under the radar. If you look, Xavier's 11-3, but when you analyze those losses, a 2-point loss to Indiana at home in the third game of the season, a 7-point loss to Duke in Portland, a 4-point loss to Gonzaga in Portland as well. Not bad losses by any means. I've been waiting. Look, I took Nova the other night. That actually cashed. I didn't take Nova on the money line. I took the points. But I watched that game and I said, man, if Nova had Justin Moore, which has been, I think he tore his ACL in the tournament last year, or actually, no, his Achilles, I think it was. But I know UConn's really good. It's not like I'm thinking they suck. But I think Xavier can get him today.
This is the spot.
Yeah.
This is the spot. I've had this one circled on the calendar for UConn. I said if UConn is undefeated going into Xavier, I think that they walk out with an L just because this is going to be one of their tougher matchups that they played. Like this Xavier squad, yes, they've been caught lacking a couple of times, but they're no slouch. Like this team can defend, they can get out, they can run in transition, they can do all of that. I think that this is the opportunity where you can get a pretty good, backyard basketball type of rivalry game spot where you kind of catch UConn lacking. So on the road, I will take Xavier at home.
Yeah, and I think they got another thing, a lit environment. This place will be bonkers. And also, it's a veteran team. I know Sean Miller's their first year there back with Xavier, but I don't care. It's still a veteran team. Mm-hmm. And I think those two things are just perfect recipes for an upset there. Give me Xavier as well. This is all, within the hour, folks. So hope you got multiple TVs or not. Maybe you're nice. Maybe you're nice with the old controller. I want to touch base on one that somewhat I know you've had experience down there in Winston-Salem. Virginia Tech is taking on Wake Forest in Winston-Salem. I was a bit surprised to see the Hokies a 1-point favorite. Wake Forest coming off that Duke win, and Wake Forest did win the last matchup big against Virginia Tech. Mm-hmm. Hokies, Demon Deacons in Winston-Salem. I don't know that it will be lit. You been to a basketball game there?
In Winston-Salem, I have not been to a Winston-Salem game yet.
Okay. I imagine this will be because I think this Wake Forest.
It's gonna be a pretty good atmosphere. Like you're gonna see people out there for sure. It's not gonna be a dud. Wake Forest can pack out their basketball games, just not their football games.
Yeah. So the question is what side are you on? This is interesting. I kind of think I think I'm going to go Wake. I know that Tech's coming off that bad Boston College loss. Mm-hmm. But I just think at home, if this was in Blacksburg, I'd be all over Virginia Tech. I think Wake can ride that momentum. I think from an offensive point of view with Forbes, I think they can give Virginia Tech some problems. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take Wake, and I'm getting the point. Give me a home dog again. What are you doing here?
I think you're wrong, Kobe. I think you're wrong. I think this is the line, and I'm going to just focus on the line right now, not get into the basketball. We'll talk about that in a second. But the line it kind of screams to take Virginia Tech at this point. So the line opened up -0.5 at Virginia Tech, and it was kind of sitting at that half at 1, basically, for a while, and then early this morning it jumped to 1.5, and that just tells me that the sharps are on Virginia Tech in this game, which it kind of makes sense. Both of these teams haven't played in a little while. It's been since the 20th for Wake Forest and the 21st for Virginia Tech. But look at the last game. Virginia Tech goes on the road, takes a bad loss against Boston College, and then you go Wake Forest and they get the win of all wins. That's the Super Bowl win, beating Duke at home. That's it. So now you're getting Wake back at home, and you don't open them up a favorite against Virginia Tech. So that just smells like it's just, even though Tech has the better record right now, that just smells on the aspect of why are you making Wake a home dog again, especially after they've been partying this whole time because they just beat Duke. So I think this is an opportunity where you probably want to get in on the favorite here, lay in 1.5, a short number, under a possession. And so, yeah, I would play Virginia Tech in this game.
Not at all concerned that the Hokies, when they lost at Boston College, it was their first road game of the season. So they are winless on the road.
Yeah. I think I like them better. And, you got some guys that are still on that Virginia Tech team that's been there, done that. It's not like a team of freshmen that you've seen some other teams years past. So there's still a little bit of a veteran mentality here. You got Mutts, and so as long as you got Mutts, I think you got a certified dog on that team that's going to get them together. Yeah. So, yeah, I like my chances with Virginia Tech here. I think that they match up pretty decently with Wake. Wake is going to give up a bunch of points on the other side. So I think that this is probably a spot where Virginia Tech avenges that loss on the road and gets their first one here at Wake.
Could be right. I mean, that's a tough game to call, but Wake 7-0 at home as well. So something's got to give today. St. John's, Mike Anderson heading down to, was that Newark? Where's that? Where's Seton Hall again? Newark. To take on Shaheen Holloway and Seton Hall. And they haven't gotten their first Big East win yet. This game's intriguing. Because both teams really kind of need the win right now. They've been a little rough patch. Seton Hall's lost 3 in a row. Meanwhile, St. John's has lost 2 in a row after starting at 11-1. St. John's is winless on the road. Seton Hall's 4-2 at home. Seton Hall's laying 4 currently. Oh, man, this is a great game. I'm excited to watch. I love Big East basketball. But
Big East basketball is one of the best basketball league conferences. It doesn't matter whether they're good or bad. Yeah, the game's always good. You're always going to get a great game.
Yeah, even if it's DePaul, Georgetown. Shout out to Ryan McIntyre. I'm gonna ride the Pirates, Seton Hall. I think they're in a little bit more desperate of a spot with them losing 3 in a row. They haven't got a Big East win yet. But the 4 is a little tricky. I think Seton Hall wins by 5 or 6.
Yeah, I'm on Seton Hall as well. I think that I like this St. John's team, but when you get these New York, New Jersey matchups, they're gonna go to the wire. It's gonna be pretty tough and pretty close. I'd rather back the home team in this one.
Yeah. I mean, this slate is fantastic. 9 a.m. here. Texas Tech heads to TCU. These teams do not like each other. 10-2 Texas Tech heading to 11-1 TCU. Man, TCU's won 9 straight. Texas Tech's won 6 straight. What's crazy is, when we did the college basketball show last night, I had TCU -3.5, I think it was, locked up. This thing is skyrocketed. It is currently at 6.
I see 6.5.
Oh man. You know what? I'm still gonna back TCU here. I think Texas Tech is not all the way they're missing Fardaz and Meek still. And I don't know how good they are offensively outside of their awesome home court environment. So I can rattle the numbers that their offensive rating has been good, but I still want this is to me a big time road test. Give me TCU minus the 6.5. So and yes, we did move that number. Shout out to Ryan. What are you doing here?
Oh man, I at this point I think it's getting too high that I don't want the closing line value. This game could fall anywhere between 4 or 5. Like Texas Tech, the only constant about Texas Tech is defense. The defense is always going to be there. They're always going to be stifling. I think I might like a play on the under a little bit more as the best bet in this game, but picking the side, I think I'm gonna just take the points. Give me 6.5.
So TCU fans get this game, and that goes straight into the CFP. Wow, nice day to be a TCU Horned Frog fan.
Oh man, that's you get to go watch them afterwards.
Yeah.
You gotta win. All right. 6 and I don't like catching the back end of the number, but all right.
Yeah.
I like the under best, but maybe a slightly in the TCU.
All right. Next up, we got to talk about this game just because it's a fucking great rivalry. But I got to be honest. I've been watching this matchup since the early 90s, if not late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, maybe I was a little, I don't know that I was paying attention to the spread in the early 90s, maybe towards the mid to late 90s. I think I was.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky is laying 23.5 points against Louisville. This is the Papa John game. Remember Papa John with the ultimate fuck you?
Yeah.
Obviously he got fired for, he was the stadium was named after him. Big time at Louisville. He got fired for some racist shit he said on like a conference call.
Mm-hmm.
And he shows up to the Louisville, Kentucky game in all Kentucky clothes. What a nice fuck you for a true piece of shit. 23.5 points is a ton of points in a rivalry game.
I can't do it.
I'm taking Louisville too, man.
I can't do it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to tell you that it's a smash spot. Louisville is so bad. We know Louisville is terrible. You don't have to tell us Louisville is terrible. We can see Louisville is terrible. This is still a rivalry game. If there's a game that's ever circled on your schedule that you're going to get up for, it's got to be this game right here. And Kentucky hasn't been what we thought that they would be this season. Like, you got to look at the eye test and looking at this Kentucky team. They're coming off of a loss on the road at Missouri. I believe that was their last game.
Yeah. And look, they only beat Florida A&M by 20. Florida A&M's terrible this year.
Yeah.
Yale by 10. Bellarmine by 19.
Like, the eye test just sits there and tells you that Kentucky, while they are head and shoulders definitely better than this Louisville team, are they better to the point where you're giving them an automatic 20 points? I don't think so. Give me the 23.5 with Louisville. I'll close my eyes and just wait and see what the final score is.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I think you got to take the points here. I want to touch base on another 9 a.m. game for me on the West, noon on the East. Tony Bennett and the Virginia Wahoos are heading to Atlanta to take on Josh Pastner and Georgia Tech. This lines came down a little bit. It opened up at 9.5. It's at 9 currently. Virginia -9. I'm actually taking the points because Virginia is one of these teams that I feel like I don't like big lines with because they're offensively somewhat challenged.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I cashed in on them. Who'd they play the other night? Albany. I took Albany plus 25. Now I know obviously 9 and 25 big gap there, but Georgia Tech's they're not awful. Give me Georgia Tech plus 9. Give me the Wahoos to win by, I don't know, 7, 8, something like that. What are you doing here?
I'm trying to look something up, and because how many times do you really feel comfortable with Georgia State? I mean, they're pretty decent the past couple of years since the COVID season. That's normally a good spot to just kind of do trends. 7, 8, and 1 as a home dog. So up and down, they've been all right. I think I'm gonna just go ahead and back UVA here. Like, their head and shoulders a better team, and defense travels.
Yeah. I mean, they won by 10 the last time they played too. That bless you. That would cover. That would cover there.
No, yeah. So I think that just defensively, they're going to smother them. And I haven't been a fan of backing Pastor in too many games.
Oh, no. I still can't believe he's employed at Georgia Tech. But Moving to the 10 a.m. college basketball slate, we have Florida State traveling to Duke. It's a big number. 16 and a half or 17, shop around there. Seminoles been playing a little bit better lately. They did beat the Irish 73-72.
Mm-hmm.
They're still 4-10, which is just fucking crazy. Coming into the year, I feel like we evaluated that roster. We said, "Oh, this is a tournament team. This is a, they'll probably be 4th or 5th, maybe even 3rd in the ACC." Wow, they've just been pretty bad, but they have won 3 of 4. They've won 3 of 4. Now, granted, that was Louisville, South Carolina, upstate, Notre Dame, and the one loss being the St. John's. But they played Virginia tough in Charlottesville, only lost by 5 back on December 3rd. I got to take the points here. I know Duke is actually, I think, a little bit ahead of schedule right now from when I watched them on the court. But 17 points. Give me Duke by, like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, something like that. What are you doing here?
I might have to go against you again. This might be the spot where Duke tries and just blows Florida State out. I think that's what they're trying to bait you on. I'm just trying to figure out what side of this are they trying to bait you on it, because this Florida State team is still not good. I mean, yes, they were able to demolish Louisville and what we thought was going to be a battle of the mids, but Florida State's still not good. Last time out, again, Duke has some. This is the first game since that Wake Forest game. That was a big game for them. Like, that was it. That was the moment where they could sit here and say, all right, we're taking that first leap as this team. Like, that's our really first big test. Go into Wake Forest, it's down the street, and get a win. Now they've been sitting on that for a little while. If you tell me FSU has injuries as well,
which they do. I mean, Cameron Fletcher is out for the year. I know Miller suspended, and also Gainey's out for the year as well.
If I back Florida State, I want to back them early, but I just think that they run out of gas in the second half and Duke runs away with it.
I could see it. I mean, that Cameron Indoor is always rocking, so I could see that happening there. You want to talk gross college basketball of the majors. At the same time, Boston College and Syracuse are tipping off.
Oh, that's really battle of the mid.
Syracuse is getting – actually, the line dropped a little bit. Syracuse is laying 9.5. It was at 10.5, I feel like. BC coming off that upset against Virginia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel like BC's been getting healthier. And meanwhile, Syracuse has been all over the place this year. I mean,
just lost the Pitt.
Yeah, but they battled back from like 19 in that game. Yeah. Almost won it. You look at some of the other performances they had. What was it? The Cornell game. Cornell's pretty good this year. They whooped them. They whooped Georgetown. I don't know if that's saying anything, but then they also have losses to Bryant and Colgate. So it's tough to get a read on which Syracuse team we're going to see. Give me BC in the points. I don't feel great about it, but give me BC in the points. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I think I'm going to just take the points too. These are two bad basketball teams. And yeah, BC is coming on the road on this one, but I got to think that these two teams on a neutral court would be, a lot closer in terms of spread, in terms of what they look like. I don't trust the Syracuse team laying this amount of points against anybody, honestly and truly. Like, there's not many teams I would lay this amount of points with Syracuse. They just don't look good. Neither one of these teams look good. This is an ACC game. I'll just go ahead and take the points.
Yeah. This game's fantastic here. Baylor heading to Ames, Iowa to take on Iowa State. Both these teams, made the Elite? No, did Baylor make the Elite Eight last year? When did Baylor lose last year? I'm trying to remember. Either way, both these teams were very good last year. Baylor's laying 2 in Ames. Look, I think Baylor's got the LJ Cryer situation. He had a concussion.
Mm-hmm. Game
time decision. That is something obviously you want to monitor here, but and also I guess Osuni, the big man for Iowa State, is also a game time decision. I'd still think Baylor looks like they've taken a little bit of a step back from previous years, and it looks like Iowa State's taken a step forward.
Mm-hmm.
They can score better than they can a year ago. I'm going to take Iowa State as a home dog, catching 2. I know it's just 2. Last year, Baylor won by 7. Give me the Cyclones. What are you doing here?
TJ Otzenberger is the transfer king.
Yeah.
He owns the transfer portal. If there's anybody that owns the transfer portal, it's TJ Otzenberger. And it's not because he goes and he poaches these guys that's sitting on the bench at these big major schools. He poaches the guys from the mid majors. He brings those guys from the mid majors up. He did that last year, and that's when he had a 22-13 team. And now his team's sitting here at 9-2, but they're the 7th most experienced team in the country is because he has all these good transfers like Jaron Holmes from St. Bonaventure.
And there's Sunni from St. Bonaventure as well.
Yeah, come on. He went to that was a really good St. Bonnie's team, and he poached a couple of their best guys and brought them over. And now Holmes is averaging a team high in points. He's like at 14 points per game, I think. So, yeah, they play defense. They're on both sides. They can score slightly, but their defense is one of the better defenses that I like watching. And just because they look like a bunch of pests on the court and they can really rattle these big schools, give me Iowa State on the money line. That's probably my favorite basketball play today.
Oh, love it. Love it. Let's go.
Yeah. I'm not afraid of Baylor. I am not afraid of Baylor.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued by this matchup here. And it's a mid-major, but have you caught wind of how good James Madison is this year?
Yeah, I have. I have.
I don't know where the fuck this came from because, okay, last year they showed some flashes of looking all right, but a couple years ago they were trash. They have been dominant. When they win by like 40, I feel like, every game. But at the same time, Marshall, remember Mike D'Antoni's brother, head coach there at Marshall, they have been pretty fire as well offensively. I mean, both these teams play at an incredibly high pace. JMU Marshall in Huntington, West Virginia. I'm telling you, this game, first off, Marshall's 9-0 at home. Something's got to give here as both these teams have been pretty damn impressive. Sunbelt opener, conference opener. Yeah, I mean, you look at the numbers here. So JMU's got the 4th rated offense in America right now. Meanwhile, Marshall, 47th. So 2 top 50 offenses.
Mm-hmm.
And JMU's charting at 8th defensively. Marshall's at 58th. What, a Dan D'Antoni coach team? 58th ranked defense? What am I missing here? That's unbelievable. Normally they're like the fucking 300th. This game's fantastic. And
yeah,
I'm going to ride the fact that Marshall's been fire at home. I don't feel good about this game because JMU has been dominant in so many games. I'm going to lay the 4.5 though because Marshall's just been on fire at home. What are you doing here?
Oh man. 5-2 ATS on the road is JMU. Marshall's coming in at 7-1 at home though. I want to take JMU in the points, but I think a couple of free throws can get us that cover. So I'm gonna ride with Marshall. I think this is a close game all the way through. Yeah. I'm gonna ride with Marshall just because I think that we can get over that number with a couple of free throws, and I hate that be the reason why we lose out on JMU. But it is super duper close. Both of these teams are good. Both of these teams should be in the tournament later.
Yeah, they really. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to watch down the stretch. Texas is heading to Oklahoma. We got the Red River Shootout on the hardwood in Norman. This line has gone up a little bit. Before, when I called it last night, it was Texas -2. It's now Texas -3.5 that I'm seeing. Chris Beard currently out. We know the situation as his fiance is still saying to the police, "Look, you misunderstood my words. He choked me, but he didn't. That wasn't what I meant. I mean, Oklahoma's catching 3.5 in Norman. Oh, I'm all over the Sooners here. Porter Moser. First off, this is a 2-point game a season ago. A rivalry game. I think Oklahoma's better this year. Getting Grant Sherfield, the transfer from Nevada, I thought was a huge get for Porter Moser. Porter Moser's 8-2 in his last 10. I know Texas is 9-1 in their last 10, but I just think, if Chris Beard was there, maybe I would go Texas, but with no Beard, give me Porter Moser, or plus 3.5 at home in Norman. What are you doing here?
I'm taking Texas. Even with no Beard. I think that this is a big game, and Texas has played in this week. Like, I don't like backing teams that are coming off almost 2 weeks of being off. So I feel like everybody is on Oklahoma here. I feel like Oklahoma looks like a good play. They're a home dog against a ranked Texas team. This is a rivalry game. Everybody's taking the points. I think this is one where Texas, just off of veteranship that they have, skill, and the players that they have. Did you see what Marcus Carr did the other day?
He's a ball.
So I just think that they're just head and shoulders the better team, and it looks like a good spot. I'm still going to take the better team. Give me Texas laying 4.
Going with the Longhorns, saying hook 'em horns. All right. Now I'm very intrigued to see where you go here, because Marquette, one of the great stories of college basketball, let's say this season, is the fact that Golden Eagles are way better. And if you know Terrell Furman Jr., he's a big Shaka Smart guy.
Yep.
Look, I'm a big fan of Shaka Smart as well, but I think Vegas hasn't adjusted to Villanova getting Cam Whitmore healthy, and I think Kyle Neptune. I think you look at that 7-6 record, they almost beat UConn. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, I still believe they have Justin Moore. They beat UConn the other night. They look better to me than, like, the first week or two of the season. I was like, I don't know about the Kyle Neptune. They look a lot better to me. I'm going to actually lock up Nova minus 2.5 in Philly. This game's fantastic, though. How about the Marquette's got some guys that I remember we were previewing them, and I was like, they're going to take a step back this year. But Prosper has been balling for them. Same with Cam Jones.
I'll tell you, mid-major Shaka is the best version of Shaka. Mid-major Shaka. And I guess you can kind of play with, is the Big East a mid-major conference or not? They are, by technicality, they are. But this is a really good team, and I think this team is going to be a force in the tournament later. But this is the spot for Nova. It feels so good. Nova coming at home, playing in this game. They just had the loss against UConn, where it's like that was an emotional roller coaster of a game, just watching it and just, thinking that, hey, we can battle with this team. We can play with this team. Villanova was getting 12.5 in that game. Come on. Yeah. I think Villanova, they haven't adjusted to Villanova. I really don't. I think that this would be a larger line. And if I was getting 7 or 8 with Shaka and Marquette, I would like Marquette, but this is a short number. I don't think they've adjusted. Marquette's still 1-2 on the road this season. Yeah, I will go ahead and take the Villanova minus 2.5. I'm not going to lock it, though, because if I lock up against Shaka Smart, he makes me pay for it. So slightly to Villanova, though.
There you go. I got to ask you this one. North Carolina A&T's at Hofstra. Hofstra and Speedy Claxton and Aaron Estrada's a baller at guard. Can you cover the 12 in Hempstead?
They've been playing teams tough. They just haven't been covering the number in all of these games. They were able to get against New Mexico State. They didn't get there against Northeastern. I thought that they would. I thought they'd get there against UTEP as well. I thought that they played well in all those games. At this point, it's a double-digit spread, though. I think they can cover double digits. Give me my Aggies plus 12 on the road.
I'm riding with you, man. I'm riding with you. I think it's too many points. UCF is at Houston. Johnny Dawkins, if you look into you see UCF 10-3. They really should be, in my opinion, 11-1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, 12-1. And Houston is 13-1. It's a gigantic spread here, 15.5 points. Houston's been pretty fire at home, with the exception to the Alabama game. Houston won this one by 18 the season ago, but I do think UCF a little bit better than a year ago, in my opinion. CJ Walker's still a game time decision for UCF, though. I took UCF in the points. I don't feel great about it because Houston has the type of team that could beat you by 40. Mm-hmm. If you're a little cold to start the game could be over. I still think UCF.
I'll ask you this.
What's that?
Do you think UCF has had some solid teams in the past couple of years?
Yes.
Yes. Houston has covered this game the past five games. They've covered every single game as a 9.5-point favorite, as a 7.5-point favorite, as a 14-point favorite, as a 6.5-point favorite, as a 13.5-point favorite. Covered all of them.
Damn.
It doesn't matter if it was on the road, if it was at home, they covered it. I cannot fade Houston against this team because I think that UCF has had some good teams over the past couple of years. They just can't get over this hump of Houston and making this game even competitive by the end. So, yeah, I'm going with Houston here. I'm going to just lay the points.
You make a strong case. I think I might switch my pick there. I think you might.
It's easy to see a tide turn.
Yeah. I'll join you there. This game's fantastic in the desert. Arizona at Arizona State. These teams, obviously, the Dust Bowl. They do not like each other.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a lot of fun in these matchups over the years. Bobby Hurley and Arizona State, much better than what anyone expected. 11-2 start. They were 11-1 before their previous game where they got smacked in the Bay Area against San Francisco. But they are 6-0 at home. Meanwhile, Arizona 0-1 on the road.
Mm-hmm.
They have won six straight. This game is fucking great. I feel like this is when I should have went to this fucking game. I'm on the points here. Arizona State is getting currently 6.5. I think it is. Could someone update me on? I see. Yeah, 6.5. I went back and forth on this. If this was in Tucson, there's no way I would take State.
Mm-hmm.
I think with it being in Tempe, this place is going to be rocking. I think Arizona State is the best version of Arizona State we've ever seen under Bobby Hurley.
Yep.
I'm going Sun Devils plus the points. Sprinkle a little bit on the money line. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I'm on the Sun Devils too. The issue with Arizona, just watching Arizona games, is that they give up a lot of shots. Like, if you look at them, some of these shots aren't even contested. Like, I'm actually starting to get to the point where I'm starting to seriously question Arizona's defense. Like, yes, you may look at the final score, and the final score may look, in Arizona's favor, but just watching the eye test in them, they give up a lot of shots. And I just think that if you give up a lot of shots to Arizona State, if you give it to the Sun Devils, they're going to make you pay for it. And the Sun Devils have been doing well defensively. Like, they look like a solid bunch from what I've watched of them in the little bit of ball I've seen from them defensively this year. So, rivalry game, I'll take the home dog for sure.
Let's go. Dayton is traveling to Davidson. Nice little A-10 matchup here. Dayton had injuries, but they seem to be getting healthier by the coming days. They are 0-2 on the road, which is a bit concerning. This is, Davidson pretty solid at home over the years, I feel like. Dayton's laying 3.5. I think this Davidson team is not as good as years past.
Yeah.
They always lack athleticism, in my opinion. But specifically this year, especially this year, they lack athleticism. Where I think Dayton, in that talent, I think this year, it shows. I know this has been a hard place to go into, over the years for anybody, but even Dayton, I think. But I think it shows here. Give me the Flyers minus a 3.5. In what is it, Charlotte or wherever the fuck, right outside of Charlotte. What are you doing
here?
Yeah,
it's outside of Charlotte. Yeah. Steph Curry came from Davidson. If people didn't know, that's where he came from. He wasn't one of those guys at a big school. He came out of Davidson. And Dayton has owned this for a while. Dayton's covered the last 4 games. They've covered as a +4 dog on the road, a +7 dog on the road, won outright both of those games.
We should bet this game.
We should bet it.
I think we should bet this game. I think Dayton's their length is a problem for Davidson too.
They just win this. They've won it on the road as a dog. They've won it as a favorite at home. They covered 10.5 in one of these games. This just might be like the Houston game where these Davidson teams just are not designed to play Dayton. Like, that is what they are not designed to do, or not to hold their own against them. So yeah, I'm going to take the history. I'm going to play the history in this game. It looks like Dayton is getting some of the sharp money too. But I'm on Dayton.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
Moving down the line here, Oklahoma State travels to Kansas. Kansas laying 10. Last time they played here, KU won by 14, but Mike Boynton has had success in the fog. I'm going to lay the 10, but wouldn't shock me if OK State covered this. What are you doing here?
10 is a lot, but Kansas is good enough. These Kansas State, anytime that I've sat here and I've talked to these Big 12 games and I said this is a lot of points for Kansas to cover, they always cover and make me look stupid. So I'll back Kansas here minus 10.5.
The momentum in that stadium's crazy. If you know,
yeah, Fog Island is a hard place to go play. That is a hard place to play.
Utah is at Stanford. Utah's been pretty damn good this year. 10-4. Stanford's 5-8. Bit surprised by the line a little bit. I thought maybe you'd make Utah a favorite here by maybe 2 points. Instead, they're catching 2.5 on the farm. I am going to take the Utes here. I'm actually going to lock this one up too. I think Utah's a better team. I think down the stretch they'll make plays. I think they're the better coach team as well. Give me the Utes. What are you doing here on the
This
farm?
doesn't smell to you? This line doesn't stink to you?
Does. Like I said, I think
3? They're getting 3?
Yeah.
All right. I normally don't recommend this, but I don't know. I think the books we're never smarter than the books. Like I know we can get over on them, but the books obviously have to know something that we don't know. And I'm only laying minus 150 on the money line with Stanford. Yeah, if I had to play this game, I would play the money line with Stanford and just hope that Stanford somehow, some way, the books understand what's going on. Why would Utah ever be catching 3 on the road? I know they're on the road, but catching
this
3
isn't even a road game, though. I mean, this supposed to be half full.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. Something sounds like it smells in this game. Utah should not be catching 3. Maybe a pick 'em at best, but I don't think they should be catching 3.
San Diego State's at UNLV. This game's fantastic. Little Mountain West fun here. San Diego State's laying 3.5 in Vegas. UNLV coming off of an upset loss to San Jose State.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego State's been they just whooped up on Air Force. I think they've been good ever since that tournament game that they lost, if memory serves me correct. San Diego State's 1-0 on the road. UNLV 6-1 at home. I'm on San Diego State minus 3.5 here. I think they're the better team. I think they lock down UNLV and they make enough offensive plays. I know they're not an offensive juggernaut, but I think they get enough that they cover the 3.5. What are you doing here?
This is going to be such a good game. Give me the home dogs, UNLV. I'll take the 4. This is a 2-point game.
Yeah, it should be.
This is going to be good, man. Yeah. This is going to be good.
Let's switch on. Well, actually, let's just end it with college basketball, and then I'll go to the CFP. West Virginia travels to Kansas State. I know Moneyline Max waiting for this answer here. West Virginia is getting one in Manhattan, Kansas.
Hey, it's a rule game. It's a rule game. Everybody knows me in my rule games in college football, college basketball. When you have an unranked home favorite against a ranked home dog, those games typically go, I think it's about 55% in the favor of the home team. So I'm going to take Kansas State. It's a rule game.
I am too. I'm on K-State. Close game though. Close game.
Yeah, Kansas State's a really good team too.
Yeah.
Like they very well should be a ranked team, and I think this is the win that boosts them into top 25.
Yeah. St. Mary's is taking on Santa Clara. And I know normally say, why are we talking Santa Clara basketball? Oh, Herb Sendek's got them 13-3 and playing seriously good ball. St. Mary's, they're always good. This game going on at the Levy Center. Last year, this was a 3-point game, but this is probably Herb Sendek's best team he's ever had at Santa Clara. Can they cover the 5.5? I think so. I like it. I actually think ride the plus 200 money line. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I'm here. I haven't been impressed by St. Mary's this year, honestly. I don't think I've seen anything and been like, oh, that was a really, really good game. They've had some wins, but I don't think I saw anything that I was super impressed about them. Maybe the San Diego State game, but not really. I really wasn't. It was just a good win. I like this Santa Clara squad. I really do. I'm getting the home dog catching 6. Yeah, I'll take them.
Yeah. We got in the final college basketball game we'll touch on Oregon State, Oregon, the Civil War going on in Eugene. Oregon hasn't looked the part this year.
Hey, you're not allowed to call it that anymore, sir. Yeah. You're not allowed to call it that.
Stonewall Jackson. Who knew Stonewall Jackson and Robert E. Lee turned out to be from fucking Oregon, apparently. 14 points. I think the Beavers cover the 14. I can't do it.
I can't lay the 13.5.
Yeah. I mean, come on. This is a rivalry.
We got to be on the Beavers. Like, that's just rivalry game. Yeah, they're in Oregon, but nah. Oregon State is in this game. Give me the 13.5.
There we go. All right. Let's switch on over to the CFP. TCU is taking on
football.
In what is this? Glendale, Arizona, I believe. The State Farm Stadium. Filthy. TCU is getting 7.5. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm actually going to let you go first because I have already done my picks. I don't want to sway you until I want to hear what you actually think for both games before I try to sway you.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing in this game?
Okay. So I do like the over in the game. Somebody just said that in the chat. I do like the over in the game.
That's at 58, in case people were wondering.
Is it? I don't think this is this is not the game everybody's excited to see. This is not the game everybody is betting on. This is not the game that's going to completely dominate what the headlines are going to be tomorrow. Whoever wins this game is going to be secondary to the next game we talk about. And because of that, I think the line is telling you to just go ahead. It's ugly, but stick it out with Michigan minus 7.5. Because why hasn't it come down to 7? The line opened up at 9.5. They took the TCU money, but they took the TCU money all the way to 7.5. Why stop there? Because a lot of money came in on TCU early. And it's because they don't think that this is a close game, sure. But I don't think that they think that Michigan is not walking out of here with a touchdown win or better. Like this, it could look like TCU has a chance at one point, and then Michigan's defense locks in that fourth quarter, and what looks like it was a cover ultimately never really was there, and it's like a 10-point game, and the score isn't indicative of how close this game really was. So I think that laying the 7.5 is the smart move in this game, but I do think I would take TCU in the first half. I think that TCU has a chance to be leading in this game and for a duration of the game. So if you want to wait and get a better number on Michigan, I think you will have the opportunity to get a better number on Michigan. But I think Michigan ultimately walks out here with a pretty decent win. So yeah, I will take Michigan minus 7.5.
I am on the TCU Horned Frogs.
I knew you would.
And my logic is, look, and I get it. I think Harbaugh's like giving him a month of prep is dangerous here because I think, he really can, create some advantages with that much time. Mm-hmm. But I also think Joe Gillespie is the most underrated defensive coordinator in football. And I know people say TCU's defense is 74th. You look, okay, sure.
That's decent for TCU though. That's good for TCU.
And like if you've circled, go to that Texas game. That Texas game, they come in with this high-powered rushing attack with Rashawn Johnson and what's our guy's name that's going to go for first running back off? Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
And, they bottled him up. I think Bijan Robinson only had like 18 or 22 yards or something on the ground. I think maybe 18 yards, and they held Texas to 22 yards on the ground. And they were coming out of a bye, if memory serves me correct on that. Gillespie can do things like that, and I think they're going to be able to. I think they're going to be able to bottle up a lot of the Michigan run. I get it. Michigan's O-line definitely better than Texas's, but I think McCarthy's going to have to beat them. And I think TCU. I don't know that he go back to the Illinois game. I know people want to talk about the Ohio State game. Go back to the Illinois game. Go back to a couple other games where he hasn't been super consistent with his throwing. I think that's the blueprint to beating them. Now, the trenches will probably tell the outcome here, but I also believe that Garrett Riley, Lincoln Riley's brother, I think that he can scheme up some offensive ways to score on this Michigan defense. So this game's absolutely, I think, fantastic to watch. The contrast in styles too. I think you take TCU in the points. I get it. The line tells you to take Michigan. But I wouldn't be surprised if TCU won this game outright. And you can go. I just look back at the Illinois game, which Illinois, I guess, doesn't play any style close to TCU, but I guess you'd go back to the Maryland game, because TCU and Maryland, even though TCU is a much better version of Maryland, but I think TCU can have they got some players on the outside that I think can create some problems for Michigan. Let's go. Give me the Horned Frogs. Let's jump on over to Ohio State, Georgia, the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. Georgia, this line has came down a little bit. 5.5 now, I'm seeing. Was 6.5 or 6 for a long time, even 7. What are you doing here?
So, this is the one where I think the upset comes, because I hear what everybody's saying. This is exactly what the public is saying. No way we're taking Ohio State. No way Ohio State's in this game. Did you see Ohio State get blew out by Michigan at home and a chance to, in the last game of the season, didn't even make their championship game? They don't even deserve to be here. Alabama should be here. That's all the narrative. That's why the public has been hammering Georgia this entire time. For a month, they've been hammering Georgia in this game. Now the line has dropped finally from 6.5 to 6.
Yeah.
It's Ohio State. This is Ohio State. Everybody's doubting the Ohio State defense. I think they step up in this game. They're not a terrible defensive unit. Yes, they've had some anemic offenses in the Big Ten to play, but they're not a terrible defensive unit. I think they step up in this game, and I think this is Stroud's coming out party to saying, hey, I'm the first overall pick in the draft. I'm about to go in here, and I'm about to take the best defense in the country, and I'm going to shred them to pieces. I have been on the over since day one, back when it was 60.5. I'm on the over now at 62.5. I think there will be points in this game. I think Georgia will be able to score somewhat, but I think Ohio State is going to get out, and they're going to get out fast. So I see Ohio State in a shootout and a rout. I think Ohio State can go out here and get this one on the money line, and I'm definitely taking them. The +6 is my favorite play. There's no doubt in my mind they cover this 6 now, because why would you drop the line? It's been money on Georgia the entire time, and why would you drop the line? I think, and guess what? If you believe that sports is rigged, guess who goes online tomorrow? Guess what state goes online for online sports betting tomorrow? And you don't think that they're going to put an incredible amount of money to see Ohio State in a natty? Absolutely. This is giving me Ohio State and Alabama all over again. Give me Ohio State here. They're going to get it done.
Oh, I love it. I said this last year. If we rewind the tape to a season ago, Georgia luckily dodged Ohio State, Michigan
last year.
Yeah, no, Ohio State would have beat them last year. I really believe.
Yes, 100%.
I thought the strengths of Ohio State could attack the weaknesses of Georgia, and I think you could still see it here today. I don't believe. I mean, it's in Atlanta, so I guess maybe you can factor a little bit in there. It's going to be probably a pro Georgia crowd, but I just think Ohio State's strengths can attack Georgia's weaknesses. And we saw it with Bryce Young in the SEC championship, last year, not this year. They were able to get up on them. And I think Alabama would have won the second matchup had their receivers not gotten injured. Smith and Jig was not playing. I don't care. Ohio State's got like 20 dogs at wide receiver. So I'm with you. And I think Ryan Day's been scrutinized and everyone's calling for his job. I think this team is taking it personal. I think it's hard to repeat. And I think one of the key elements in this game is for Ohio State to get up early, because Stetson Bennett, in his whole career, and look, we've looked like fools. We were haters on Stetson Bennett, and he's made us look like fools. But I still say that I think there's only been a couple games where they've been trailing and had to come back. And I think Ohio State. See, I think Missouri got an early lead on them. Missouri didn't have the offense to stay up. Ohio State does have the offense to stay up. Give me the Buckeyes on the money line as well.
I like the Buckeyes in the first half. I like them on the money line in the game. I love the +6. I think this is Ohio State's day. Like, I really think it's Ohio State's day. The SEC has gotten 2 national championships in recent history with Alabama and Georgia. This is the one for the Big Ten. Michigan and Ohio State in the championship game.
I'm with you. All right, folks, let's watch these ball games. Subscribe to the college basketball experience. Subscribe to the college football experience. 2 different feeds. Also, there's the college baseball experience with Noah Beanick. We come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. And also check out all of Terrell's work, the NBA Gambling Podcast, the WNBA Gambling Podcast, the NFL Gambling Podcast, Sports Gambling Podcast. Check it all out, folks. Give him a follow on Twitter at reallyRel__. Folks, get the SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. And let's go. This is the college football and basketball experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Spit my darts, you get ripped apart. Save the cookie cutter mother for 106 apart. Cause of your liquor will I sip your heart. You never dumb it down, dog. If you're smart, I throw out a couple of lines. Fighters are quick to cross. Fish you on a dick to lie. Piss you off, it goes. Tits and bras, lips and jaws. I use my common sense to see the bitch and all. Good thing you got the market corner. Kids and malls. Grip the red carpet as you slip and fall off. Another career spear. Thanks for trying to block. You get an A for effort and an F for shut the fuck up. Here's a hint. Put down the mic, you catch a glimpse. And keep them eyes wide when you see me. Mics, I seize them. So when you see him, you got a good reason to look. Catch a glimpse.